Hey now, hey now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Tech Frenzy. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Yeah, I just wanted to go live for a little bit. It's Sunday. Uh, Potentially we might even get into futures for tomorrow. Silver prices are going crazy. People are selling their stocks, doing what they have to do to buy onto these silver bars and bullion. It's crazy. That being said, personally, I'm not touching it. Hope literally everyone makes money, and retail can take advantage of some of this pricing, and the institutions can be the ones being left with the bag. But I myself know nothing about silver. I'm not here. I shouldn't know anything about silver. I'm not going to try to play it at all. Um, Billy Gibbs in chat says, I'm actually shorting it. Wow. That might be a risky bet as well. I wouldn't do that. But good to see you guys. Hope you all had a good Christmas. Yeah. Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas. Very, very exciting. Hopefully you spent a lot of time with family. I sure did. Ate way too much junk food. I do a thing every New Year's where I'll try to cut something out or add some large stipulation to my year. I take my New Year's resolutions, pretty seriously. And after what I did to my body over the last week of just eating every dessert, trying everything, the amount of cookies and shortbreads and just everything that I put in my body, I'm going to do not no sugar. You can't do no sugar, but no sweets. So that's going to be my resolution going into next year. No candy, no chocolate, no cake, not on my birthday, nothing. That's what I think I'm going to do. The cut looks good. Yeah, it's shorter for sure. But yeah, I don't really have it up right now. Okay. Do Canadians celebrate Christmas? Yeah. A little bit. No sweets January. Nice. I know a lot of people do that with alcohol as well. They'll sort of take like January off from drinking. Tanner wearing a white hat. The white hat is actually an Ethereum hat. In honor of Ethereum's price, which has continued to not move and has been sad to look at. But and some people are obviously very down in the dumps on BMNR, especially. I continue to be a believer. I don't necessarily think that BMNR is going to be a bad investment for my portfolio. I think the real conversation piece is it going to do better than Ethereum? Or is it going to underperform Ethereum? That's where I think the mess up might actually be. And I hope, obviously, it's going to do better. I hope it's the former there. But we don't know. And some of the price targets that Tom Lee has said, well, his team is actually saying, quite the opposite, is obviously not exciting to see either. But at the end of the day, some people are calling this a scam and everything like this. Like, all they do is buy Ethereum. Like, there's not even anything complex. There's no crazy complex raising strategies or anything along these lines. They're just raising money via selling shares on secondary markets and then buying more Ethereum with it. The timing of their Ethereum purchases, how much cash that they raise, these sort of things, that could be up for question. But yeah, hopefully that starts to yield investors some gains. Now, the exciting thing is they've actually started to stake, and this has not been a small step into staking. They're actually taking a pretty good leap here, already starting to stake 342,560 Ethereum, or about $1 billion, roughly getting into about a 12th of the amount of Ethereum that they have, on their balance sheet. It's not going to yield too much of a result. Like if I were to look, we could just get at a handy dandy calculator right here. So, 342,560. Let's times that by about 3%. However, they said about 3 to 4%. So why don't I just cut it right down the middle? I'll say 3.5%. That's roughly 12,000 Ethereum per year on the $1 billion that, we're receiving. Now, if they just hold on to that Ethereum, there's a couple things that they could do, right? You could stake it, collect that Ethereum, keep it on the balance sheet, grow the book even faster. Or as the stake ends up coming in, they are buying back shares or distributing it as a dividend. Those are also potentials. Now, if you are going completely into a dividend or a buyback, that's about a shareholder yield of about 3.5%. Or think, a dividend of a 3.5%. It's decent. Okay. But it all depends on the price of Ethereum. That's going to be the big benchmark. So, for example, if we have this 12,000 Ethereum coming in at $3,000 per ETH, that's roughly $36 million a year. Not much of an earnings, but they're only staking $1 billion. So if they end up staking all of their Ethereum, I think we just ended up passing roughly 4 million ETH. So, 4 million ETH at 3.5% on average of a stake. That's 140 ETH a year. Times that by 3,000. That's $420 million of annualized earnings to the company. That's something. That's something. Now, if the big changer here is still going to be if they end up having Ethereum go up to 4,500, 6,000, or if Tom Lee, if we can even believe him anymore, that by the end of 2026, that ETH gets up to 20,000 per ETH token, we're talking about some serious dollars here, right? So that bull thesis is still in play if you believe in Tom Lee's price targets, which is obviously the part that most people are not believing in and say, good luck with that. So exactly. Silver's already $82. Yeah, I think it hit 84 and then came back down to 82. So we're actually seeing the slightest bit of silver pullback off of the highs. I don't think we've seen that so far in the run up. I could be mistaken there. I'm not following it super close, but that's if you guys want to buy precious metals. I just can't wrap my head around buying precious metals. Tanner, do you really think Nvidia will be doubled next year? No. So I was listening to Amit and Steve go on about this, and it's not that I'm like highly hoping. Well, I mean, I hope that they double, but I'm just saying that it's a possibility, and no one's giving that credit. So I didn't say double. I was under the assumption before the holidays that Nvidia was at 175. It was 190. I don't think we're going to get to 380 or something like this. But 350 is literally like, that's an analyst price target, a couple analyst price targets already for next year. It's definitely in the realm of possibility. Now, the reason why I say that is that people are not counting the possibility that they can continue to accelerate growth, that they can continue to accelerate margins. Everyone is assuming that they continue to go down from here and that they lose market share. That's, not necessarily going to be the case. I think we're still very early on in this market. Now, one of the things that I would also say as well is, let's imagine that Nvidia today, which, the market has been able to give them a $212 price target. And at that multiple, the market was comfortable for that for a little bit. It wasn't very long. It was like a day. But even at $190, I can go ahead and look up what that PE would be for a company growing at 60 plus percent, 46 times. Okay. If they end up growing at 60 plus percent, keeping that multiple on that stock if margins stay the same on EPS, not including buybacks, okay, that EPS would grow by 60 plus percent. Okay. not assuming any changes in growth rates, margins, and total shares outstanding. Shares outstanding should come down. Maybe there's some talk about margins coming down as well. I think it's too early to call. That said, that's a 60 plus percent move in the stock price if margins or if multiples are to stay the same. Now, should they stay the same over the course of, a new year of more competitors coming in, but also potential new build-ins coming in? Like no one's counting, for example. I saw a comment here, China. Why are we not pricing this in anymore? This is a, $50 billion total addressable market growing at 50%. That means next year it's a $75 billion total addressable market for revenue for Nvidia if they completely let us back into China. Now, it's not the US's call to make that call. That CCP is going to have their say in that as well. But yeah, so I think that the whenever people look at market caps, they just can never see it going higher. I've listened to all the news stations or all the reports whenever Apple broke $1 trillion. They go, how much higher can, we have companies now worth $1 trillion. How high can this possibly get? Now we're about to have an individual in public markets that is going to be worth $1 trillion. Numbers go up. Not obviously recessions, black swans, things can happen that can make Nvidia's journey a terrible journey. And I'm not necessarily even calling for a double. That wouldn't be my base case. That's my, super bull case. But do I think that the stock is going to beat the S&P 500 and hope that it grows, an additional 40+% next year? Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm continuing to hold it. It's because I think me venturing off and trying to find a new investment that I could pour 40% of my portfolio in would just not be, a good case for me to try to make. I've found a winner. I don't need to, it's hard finding winners. I'm not here to cut them to try to find new ones. Not yet. But yeah. How much money is even in the world? See, this is another misconception. There's not 10 trillion, or $5 trillion in Nvidia stock. That's not how it works. So essentially what makes up a market cap is the last person to bid on the company, to value it at that value, is what makes up that price. Okay. So the second that it starts to crash, you're seeing, the total price on Nvidia collapse. But that's because the new buyers are not wanting to pay, a $200 price target. They'd much rather pay a $100 price target. Well, that would immediately, if you can't find a buyer from 200 all the way down to 100, and sellers are forced to lower their exit price all the way to 100, that immediately cuts a company in half. That's not taking out essentially it's taking out $2.5 trillion worth of value, but that's not, you're not actually needing to see $2.5 million leave the company, right? So it's not even really a true statement. Yeah. Our government just printed another 40 billion this month. Okay. Not wrong. Evan, what's up, brother? Jared, thanks for becoming a member, my friend. Appreciate the support. There was another comment, though. If you had capital stuck in BMNR and strategy 40% down, would you take the L and reallocate hold? Also, your top 3 buys today heading into 2026. My top 3 buys right now for my portfolio. So I'm not saying that these are the 3 companies with my highest conviction, but they're names that I, want bigger sizes in. So I'm very hopeful for Nvidia going into 2026, but it's also 40% of my portfolio. So I don't want to make that just bigger and bigger and bigger, because then I've got some serious risk if what I hope happens doesn't happen, right? Like I'm going to make however many X calls during my year, and people will judge me on if I miss one of them. I'm going to miss some of them. My hope is that I get 60% of them right. 40% of them are going to be no good, and I hope to trim them quickly and learn from those mistakes. But the great thing about stocks is that I could put $100 into a company, and I could risk losing $100 if I don't have any external leverage or something like this. But those same companies that I did bet on and are working, well, I could essentially make infinite. So my goal is to try to find those 10Xs and try to cut the losses pretty quickly. So my top 3 buys, sorry, to go back on your actual question, is Amazon, SoFi, and Nebius right now. Nebius being actually at the top of that list. I'm really and very quickly building out my position in Nebius. I've been listening to every day. I'm trying to listen to a new call, new earnings, like something around Nebius, and I'm liking everything I'm hearing. Like, very, very cool. Very cool company. Yeah, my hope is to see overnight markets. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Where do you think the stock gets that SoFi is going to 100 next year? I don't think he did say that. I think he put out a prediction, did he not, saying like his absolute bull case for SoFi is like $70 or something like that. But he's already said that his thumbnails is different than his beliefs. So like, I think it's one of those things like don't hate the player, hate the game type thing. I'm pretty sure he wrote on Twitter like his predictions, and like $100 wasn't one of them, if I remember correctly. It actually seemed pretty based, like what he said. Let me see. I don't. Anyway, if I find it, I'll let you know. But maybe someone can send me that link. I remember seeing him tweet that, and yeah. We talked about the week after next. Well, I said I'm going to CES. That's it. Are you in Nebius already? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Explain why Nebius. I'm a super proponent of artificial intelligence. I believe that, okay, one, I spend so much of the holidays defending AI, just going, family after family dinner, is just having to listen to everyone constantly say about how we're all going to lose our jobs, how every political party is terrible, how like it's just doom. It's like just sitting around a bunch of people that have nothing but negative things to say. And it's so much easier whenever you're around people to talk negatively about what's going wrong than to say what's going right. Honestly, it's so weird. But I had to sit in an island and talk about why I don't think that AI is going to replace all jobs and that AI is going to be great for humanity. And I'm aware the 600 out of the 683 people listening don't agree with that. But I'm an extreme optimist. It's worked out for me. I'm not going to change my opinion there because I'm still living. And and there's been a bunch of people that said, how by the time 2025 comes around that we're all going to, have some terrible, political thing that happens. We're all going to lose our jobs. Our 401ks are going to get destroyed. Like, it's just nothing but fear. And I don't have that fear. Maybe one day, but not today. So I think that artificial intelligence is going to make people more productive at their jobs. It's in my belief that whenever people think, oh, well, this job, the way it's done today is going to get fully automated. I can agree with that. It's not going to be done that way in the future. I think there's going to be a lot more personalization. They're going to get way more into the details because those employees will have much more time. And sure, people will lose jobs. There are some jobs that will be fully automated, but for a lot of coders and, I don't even think even with Claude and Gemini and, being all like amazing at creating code, that's going to replace people. I just think that's going to make them more efficient at their job. Nebius is essentially setting up that infrastructure along with some technology as well. They have some great subsidiaries and other businesses and minority stakes in companies that are worth fortunes because they're all growing at triple-digit rates. But which, even if you were to look at just the investments and the parts of Nebius Group, not including Nebius, that like even that makes up for a sizable percentage of their market cap that I think that they're worth right now. But the actual hardware, the data centers, is not something that will be easily replicated or some moat that someone can come in to try to take away. You know, it's not something that can be coded away. You need a lot of capital, unbelievable engineering teams, which Yandex was very well positioned coming from a company that at one point had 25,000 employees, you know, like that all used to work together, that was setting up Yandex Cloud. Like, I mean, just it perfectly positioned to be one of the great leaders of, you know, a sort of next phase of artificial intelligence, which we're scraping at agentic artificial intelligence right now. We are not even using generative AI to a large degree. You're seeing it sometimes in some commercials. Most of you guys might have seen the Coca-Cola commercials and stuff like this that sparked major controversy because they used artificial intelligence as if like, no, all these companies are pouring in all this investment, so then we don't use it. What? It's going to be used everywhere for everything, and that's going to be okay. The same way that computers or the internet or email or any of these things that might have been scoffed at before because the post office didn't like email doesn't mean that the people who are using it aren't going to benefit by having, you know, faster ways to transact information. We're going to lose postman jobs. I mean, I'm aware, okay? But obviously there's going to be some industries that are directly in the path that AI is going to pave. And then those people are going to have to relocate. But most people, most industries are going to be beneficiaries of artificial intelligence. That's my belief. That said, so where was I going with that? Nebius is, you know what's another thing too that I like? Whenever people talk about the gold rush and these sort of things, like the gold rush was this unbelievable like price skyrocketed and there was, you know, it's under the ground. So if we take it up, there's a lot of abundance there that we could go and sell and then we'd make a fortune. Great. But in artificial intelligence, people are really attributing this to the gold rush, except we're not selling a commodity. We're selling annual recurring revenue. That's what's so cool about like the internet and essentially Google and Microsoft and all of these companies that have come out of the internet age and why they're the biggest companies in the world after the internet boom is because we weren't just creating a hype cycle. We were creating lifetime customers that come back and pay us every single month, sometimes every single transaction, every day. So Nebius, I do think fits into that as an infrastructure play that you're finding enterprise customers. Those enterprise customers are going to be around for a long time. We are going to go through 3 different S curves for which we're not even in the, you know, like we're in the growth phase of generative AI, but we're not even maturing in that industry. And then we're about to go into agentic artificial intelligence and then into physical artificial intelligence. All of these, I think, are going to be bigger than the last, you know? So is Nvidia placed well there? Is Nebius placed well there? There's not going to be enough cloud. There's not going to be enough infrastructure. So you can see it by the oversubscribing of those GPUs that are getting set up. There's the media that's telling you one thing, and then you just need to look at the actual customers. Like, look at the problems that Micron's having. Look at the problems that Nebius is having, or CoreWeave, or Nvidia. These companies cannot make their products fast enough. And I don't know why everyone looks for, people are looking for external validation that everything is going wrong constantly and not actually looking at the real sales orders, you know? So more people are using it. I'm using it every single day. I'm paying a lot more for artificial intelligence as a consumer than I ever have. So, yeah. I discussed the price action in silver. I think that it's not going to be sustained. There might be a quick run up, and some people will be able to exit out at the top. But I think that there will be a correction. And like, look at silver's chart over time. It's happened multiple times, and people think that this spike is going to be like somehow we're going to find a top and then just flatline up. No, it's going to go up and then straight back down. So I don't want to play anything like this. I like businesses that make, profit over time. I don't just want the price of a single, precious metal to go up and then down. CES is booked over 12 hotels. I didn't realize how big it is. It's the biggest technology conference in the world. Yeah, you're going to see like any company that is big in tech, we're going to see stuff there. Okay. Stop acting like retail, please. It's annoying. Be more thoughtful. I am retail. What are you talking about? I don't have to be an expert in everything. I try to read up on blockchain and artificial intelligence, and the things that overlap in that a lot is like advertising, e-commerce, financial technology. A lot of those overlap, so I find myself in investments like that. But those are really the two main things that I focus on. And then Mark's in chat saying, talk about cobalt. For real, no. Like, absolutely not. If you guys are looking for my opinions on gold, silver, cobalt, lithium, buy. Like, I've got no business talking about that at all. I know nothing about cobalt. Zero. And I don't even want to. Like, for real, I don't even want to read up on it. Maybe there's a precious metal miner. I might be interested in that. Because, they could make continuous profits over time. Just like Robinhood or Coinbase or some of these companies would make continuous profits over time from selling the volatility on crypto. Yeah. Tanner, can you talk about positions in the portfolio? I'm trying to minimize the number of stocks so I can increase my growth, like filtering out companies. Yeah, I mean, it's a complex question because you can have two different types of companies in your portfolio, right? Like, how do you trim out the names that are super cheap from a PE and price to sales ratio, but have also lower growth? And how do you buy... And how do you justify paying much more for a company like Shopify or Palantir or Tesla or something like this? What's worked for me is focusing on, like, Warren Buffett used to say that, like, he would go after cigar butts. And then he realized, because Charlie Munger told him, it's better to buy an exceptional company at an okay valuation. And I'm sort of in my phase in my life where I've actually found a lot of success, like paying a lot, like pay too much for a hyper growth business. Like, I'm in sort of those camps where I'd much prefer to buy the CrowdStrike over the Sentinel-1. I'd much rather buy the Tesla over the Lucid. I'd much rather buy number one because the winners just seem to win more over time. Obviously, if there's a second place company that has a different strategy, like this is not going to work for every single, like it's not like a blanket statement you can make, but most times the companies that are winning are just going to continue to win. And unless there's a change in management, a change in strategy, like things can go wrong. But my opinion is Elon's going to continue to win. Jensen's going to continue to win. Mark Zuckerberg is going to continue to win. Tobias Lutke is going to continue to win. Like, there are founders that you find, and then you just have to hold on for dear life because their minds are working much better than me. It's that's the best part about investing, right? I'm an idiot, bro. But there's some unbelievable giants in capitalism that I get to bet on their success. And that's very exciting. You know, some of these people, Jensen Huang, Toby Lutke, these guys, they work for me. Like, for real. They don't think about it that way. They're working for themselves, but I've got a percentage of the ownership in their, you know, lifelong companies. Let's see. Today, the use of silvers in EV batteries, a few grams. Samsung's next gen EV batteries, 1 kilo per car. Love it. Love it. Taylor Lauber and Noto will continue to win. Yeah, a little different because there was a change in management for Shift4. Taylor Lauber definitely, you know, is not Jared Isaacman, but Jared Isaacman's still involved in the business. Toby Lutke is the founder of Shopify, Canada's biggest company. Tanner doesn't want to talk about PayPal. I don't even hold it anymore. So I bought a teaser position maybe, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. Like, it wasn't that long ago. Might even have been shorter than that. And then was just doing more research on Nebius and just went like, what do I think is going to do better than this? Like, my hope is that PayPal ends up doubling. And then along that, you worry about how much market share they're going to lose over time, because they are losing market share. But not fast, right? On the other hand, you look at Nebius and you're like, okay, well, if the stock doesn't want to adjust its margins to what I believe, or adjust its multiple to what I believe is going to happen into the future, then I just have to wait. And then the earnings will end up justifying it for me. In Nebius's case, 6 months from now, like, because they it grows so unbelievably fast. Now, the real problem with fast-growing companies is not that, like, you have to even pay that much. It's that there could be a change of winners very quickly in a new industry. So one of, like, the key pillars of growth investing that I've been really getting into is not just total addressable markets, which has been what I've been focusing on before, but now it's early total. So I used to focus on how can I pick a company that's growing in a pond that's insanely big? But that's the wrong strategy, okay? Recently, I've realized that the real strategy is picking a company that is potentially big in a small pond, but that pond is growing extremely quickly. So that's why I've rotated into more blockchain and AI, because these are expanding like crazy. And it's about picking the winners. It's about finding the winners in those and then letting the markets stretch out, rather than something that, like, I can't even think of an old example, but like how much Verizon is going to take away from AT&T or something like this. Like, telcos are telcos. And maybe there's one that's winning, but that's a harder business to wrap your mind around. I just like finding these industries where they're just moving insanely, or growing insanely quickly. And it's about finding those companies that are, capturing the most market share in the fastest growing total addressable markets. And right now you look to an Nvidia, you look to Ethereum, for example, on blockchain side, or Robinhood or Coinbase or something like this, where they're actually growing in market share versus the total traded volume of crypto. So yeah. The fish in the pond are the stocks in this example. SoFi or silver tomorrow? For me, it's going to be SoFi. Okay. I think Mitt said that SoFi's price target is in the 60s. Is too bullish. He has a reasonable position now and has a price target of around 40. Any thoughts, Tanner? No, I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. I didn't even call for 60s. My price target was 50 to 55. Depending on how bullish, like if we get more rate cuts, it'll be closer to 55. If we don't, it'll be 50. But yeah. How much of your portfolio will Nebius be? Right now, it's just a little past 1%, but I'm going to try to get it up to 5%, which is about half my position size of SoFi. So really, my entire portfolio is like 3 companies. Nvidia is 40%, roughly about 17.5% is Shopify, and then about 10 to 12%, I think it's actually closer to 12% right now, is SoFi. So everything else, like the other, however many positions, makes up for the rest of that. So getting Nebius up to 5% is going to be a nice chunk. It's not that I believe in Shopify over Amazon. I mean, I do. I do, but I believe in both. I love Amazon, but I didn't start loving Amazon till like maybe a year and a half ago. I've liked Shopify since 2017, So a lot of I didn't put 18% of my portfolio into Shopify. It's just done well over time. So it's much more market value than it is book value. I actually think the biggest company with the most amount of book value that I have in my portfolio is actually SoFi. Okay. Is there a target number that you're hoping to get for Nebius? Honestly, no. At the speed that they're growing, at the speed that the industry is growing at, I've got price targets don't belong there. No, 40% is my biggest position. Nvidia is by far my biggest position. By far. And I have high hopes. Now, if it gets here's another thing too. I don't want it to get above 50%. So as Nvidia continues to grow, I will have to trim it. But then I'm going to have a freaking cash machine. Nebius versus Iren, I like Nebius better. I like their contracts better. I like the history much better. I like management. I like the some of their subsidiaries and minor stakeholders that they have, like ClickHouse and Toloka and all that stuff. So I prefer Nebius personally. Aren't you sponsored by Hood? No. And I don't think Hood pays for really any creator. Not that I know of, at least. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't know. But most times, if you're ever dealing with a company that's publicly issued, you're not allowed to talk about their stock. The companies that do especially want you to talk about their stock, for real, stay away from those companies. I only know of, I think, 2 companies that have done that. By the way, a lot of precious metal, small miners, stuff like this. This is why I don't touch these companies too. The majority of what those companies actually do is try to get people to buy their stock, these penny stocks that are trading on pink sheets. I mean, I don't like the mining industry. I don't like precious metals. What's going on might be great for them, and there might be a lot of money to be made, and I'm not suggesting that there isn't. But I don't believe in companies that ask to be promoted on their stock. promote your product, bro. Sell what you have to sell. Don't sell your stock-based compensation and your employees options vesting and all of this stuff. Like do that by being the best in the market. So the companies that do that, like Poet and everything like this, forget about it. I'm not for real, I have to be a hater of that company because of that. And there's other businesses as well that I know of. But yeah. Okay. Okay, but how about all the bad publicity that data centers are getting? Is it bad for the environment and consuming high levels of electricity? Isn't this a bad thing? I mean, to be fair, I don't know a lot about the environmental impacts or, what that means for, like, it's not my expertise. So I'll lean on some experts to tell me whether that's a good or bad thing. But I've also seen that a lot of like the water consumption stuff has been, a little bit of a hoax and overblowing the numbers and everything like this. So for me, the electricity cost for those data centers is a small cost of doing goods versus the actual product that they're selling. There is a potential for a high margin business there. So that's the way that I'm looking at it. I'm just looking at it from a business standpoint. I'm not investing in, environmentally, what is it called? ESG or something like that. Yeah. And there's nothing against that. And I hope that you don't judge me for just, trying to make some money. But I'm looking for what's trying to make my portfolio the most money. And if there's something insanely bad from the environment, I hope that the government cracks down on that. But it's probably not going to be from energy use. If you want us to sign some mail to Noto to come on the show, we'll do a great, environmental, social, and governance. Yeah, governance. No, Noto completely knows that we want him on the show. Everyone does. I'm not. It's not that. Okay. Data centers should be used to heat people's water or home heating systems. Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that. The Plain Bagel did a great breakdown of these obscure mining companies that advertise their stock. I had a friend that worked at one of those, like a call center for these companies to get people to try to invest in like these pink sheets. I mean, it's like a scummy business. So what are you saying? Your portfolio is only growth? That is what I'm saying. Yeah. I invest in disruptive, innovative companies, and that's how I like to play it. What if the market drops? I lose a lot of money. 2022 is not a good year for me. Just buy more. Yeah, I try to. Wouldn't taking the profits into dividend stocks be smart to do for when the market drops? No, because I'm not redeeming and I'm not smart enough to know when it drops. So this is just the way that I play it, by the way. For like, we all have different time horizons. We all have different strategies, like completely. Okay. So if you are making redemptions out of your portfolio, you need your portfolio to be stable or going up. That changes the way you should look at your risk tolerances. Okay. I'm young. I have bills, but they're, not a lot compared to what I'm making. So I don't ever really make redemptions from my portfolio. I have in the past, things like my mortgage or like the down payment on the house, but like I didn't have to get the house if I didn't have the money. So that was opportunistic. Is that how you say it? Opportunistic. And yeah. So I like, for real, my dream job has always been investing in innovative growth stocks. And I mean, like, for real, I've always wanted to be a venture capitalist. So I just like it. I don't want to, like, anytime I've ever tried to be smart about investing in companies, it's like the market just ends up being way more bullish than we think. In my time in history, we've had the longest bull run in history, 12 years. And then we had a very, very short but technical bear market. Okay. Then we're back into a bull market. Now we're going into essentially, not going into, we're in the midst of a roaring 20s with I believe in Cathie Wood whenever she says this, like, we have the most amount of large technological advancements happening all at the exact same time. Crypto, blockchain, autonomous driving, humanoid robotics, genomics, like just everything is happening all at once. Anytime that I've ever tried to buy safety stocks, I end up looking at my portfolio and I'm like, dude, everything's working and I'm holding on to Coca-Cola. Like, I get mad. I can't. Anytime I've tried to buy value, it's burnt me. And I'm not saying that that'll be forever. I mean, we might end up going into a freaking 10-year bear market after these extremely long bull markets. Like, there could be a Great Depression or something like this. And the value and defensive plays will be the way to go. But I also have to like what I do. I really enjoy buying into tech companies and believing in that and learning about it. I don't want to get into value investing in defensive plays or buying silver, because whenever that doesn't work, you guys sorry. I don't want to, but it's almost like buying an NFT, in my opinion. If the market turns around on silver, you know how dumb I would feel if I'm sitting here holding this silver brick and I'm like, what? Who talked me into this? Of course I would rather have Nvidia. Of course, or maybe that's not your fancy, but of course I'd rather have Microsoft or Google or Meta or something like this. Like, and that's the great thing about these markets today is you can go out and call yourself a growth investor and buy the biggest companies with the biggest balance sheets because they're called the Magnificent Seven. They're the fastest growing fortress balance sheet companies with founder like the people who are running it, the CEOs are still the founders. I love that. You can have a company that's owned by Brad Gerstner and Warren Buffett at the same time. And we do. It's Google. Because they're one of the biggest names in artificial intelligence, and they also have the stickiest businesses and the highest margins and unbelievable balance sheets, and they've been able to prove, or at least semi-prove, that they could pass on management to someone else, and the company is still run. That is important too. Now, did Sergey Brin have to come back? I mean, that's another discussion. Okay. You mentioned silver. It just went red. Oh, well, I'm not even called, like, this could definitely break 100. Like, I don't know what is going to happen for silver. I'm not even trying to track it at all. It is at, what is it, 76.82 right now? I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to call the top. I wouldn't be smart enough to call the bottom. Yeah, 8% reversal on the price right now. Okay. Yeah, when everyone's talking about it, just be careful. Completely. For my portfolio, Amazon is my defensive play. But I think that's a great defensive play. I love that. Like, those are my defensive plays too now. You know, growth with good balance sheets. Everyone's talking about silver. That's when you leave. Yeah. Yeah, we could definitely watch the 24-hour markets. That'll be coming on at 8. Currently, the actual NASDAQ futures and S&P 500 futures are essentially flat. Silver does look like it's coming down on its price a little bit right now, but I don't know. It might be coming back up. It's at 77 now. Who knows? Hood's giving out gifts. It's true. Okay. What would it take for Shift 4 to go lower than it is right now? Slower than expected growth. Market share loss. Something like, I don't know. There's always companies can go lower until they hit 0. But it's what's the chance of that actually happening? For Shift 4, I don't think it's a very high chance. So I hold the stock. I like the company, but I'm not even buying it here. Tanner, if I get this Hawaii trip, I'll take you. Thank you, brother. What do you guys think? Hold on a sec, because I was talking about SoFi a little earlier. If you guys don't know, SoFi ends up, they have the ownership of the naming rights for TGL, which is a golf league that Tiger Woods ended up starting. I think this is the worst. Like, we're now into season 2. I thought the issues were going to be solved. I tried watching it today because today was the first day of the launch. It's just a bug fest. Like, it's and it's hard to follow too. I find it extremely hard to follow. I'm like, who's watching this and thinks, oh, this is better than golf? It's super lame. Like, I like whenever the players are having fun. That's always fun. But whenever they're hitting things on TGL and then they just begin to laugh because they know, like whenever like, I always think it's important to realize, like, the difference between an average golfer to a good golfer to, like, a great golfer to a professional, top 100 player in the world. Like, they know their way around golf. And whenever they hit the ball into the screen and go, why did it go that way? Like, whenever they say that, like, the second they hit it with their club, that they should know exactly where that ball goes. It's like whenever you see a baseball or basketball player like Steph Curry or something, like, he'll bounce a ball twice and be like, no, this ball is wrong. This is not right. It doesn't have the right amount of air. Like I've bounced balls 100 million times. I know exactly how this feels. This doesn't feel right. And then sure enough, it's not right or something like this. If TGL is not simulating the games properly, it's just a doomed sport to begin with. Well, yeah, we are talking about golf, but not that I care about golf. It's more around the lines of, is it wasted marketing dollars? And I think it is. I think it's a bad idea. Yeah. Who had the biggest short on SoFi? I'm not sure. Okay. Oh, wait, there was a good question here. In the very near future, is it possible that LLM models are optimized to run in a small computer? If so, why do we need this much data center capacity? So essentially, the use case for artificial intelligence today is not the use case of where it's going to be tomorrow, the next year, 5 years from now. What they've ended up seeing is that the longer that you give a model time to reason, time to think over the problem, the better the answer will be. The more tokens used, the better the answer. And they've essentially just found this to be like they've not found the cap for that answer. Whether you use a single GPU, 10 GPUs, 10,000, 100,000, a million GPUs, the answers just get smarter and smarter and smarter. with that being said, you know, some people still say that their LLMs are having hallucinations, but it's not really that these things are not getting smarter. It's that we constantly evolve the types of questions that we think that we can answer it or ask it. So if you were to go in and think about the questions that you're asking these models, you know, before it was, hey, write me an email to this possible lead and say, what are the options that, you know, they would like to do or what date? And then it would fill it out. Maybe there would be some spelling errors, whatever. This was ChatGPT 3, right? And then you go, hey, it's not perfect. We have to read it over, but it's good. That's a good model. And then someone showed you that it was possible to, or by the next model, that was not even something that you would look over. No one ever looks over the spelling of those LLMs anymore. But then they said, hey, it can't do math at all. And it also can't go back to reread what it's doing. So you could say, how many letter R's are there in strawberry? And it would say, there's 0 R's in the word strawberry, because it can't go back through and reread the sentence to count how many R's there were. Now we do have that with reasoning, right? It'll take a question and look over it 10 different ways. So it never messes up whenever you ask it this. It never messes up math anymore, or at least complex math, right? Or simple math. Complex math, it might, but even that will have answers to it eventually. And what we end up, or at least what I end up seeing with AI and the way that I'm treating it, is it still does mess up, but I'm just asking it insanely complex questions now. I'll say, you know, the first time it would be like, hey, draft me an email to this response. Now I'm saying, okay, take these 10 companies and compare their multiples versus their growth rates. And that, like, I'm trying to get it to look over 10 different websites, 15 different websites, source it all together, make it into and it'll get good at that too, but it's going to have hallucinations at that level. And then, you know, the next time we're going to ask it to make us a book or a complete advertising video or like, for each individual customer that ends up coming in, here's the data that you need to know about this person. Make them a personalized ad for Coca-Cola. You know, it'll be able to do that someday, and we're going to need a lot of GPUs. So to go back to answer your question, what is an LLM? Where's the total capacity? We're always going to be asking it smarter and smarter questions. It's going to be doing way more. I have questions for LLMs like now, and I'm just like, I already know. I'm like, it won't be able to give me a precise answer to this, but maybe in 2 years it will. Maybe in a year it will. So, you know, I'm only going to get more productive as they get smarter as well. I have this thing that I wanted to show you. Look at this. Where is it? Yeah, here. This is a list of the models that were not available last year. DeepSeek R1. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to read them all out. There's too many to read. But all of these models are new this year. This is the amount of advancement that we're going through on an annual basis. Like, what was the first ChatGPT one that they listed here? But like, look, Gemini 2 was not around this year. And then we also got Gemini 3. We got, just amazing things. ChatGPT 5.2. It's only going to get smarter. But yeah, it is bullish. It's insane. How, like, no one's talking about this stuff. You know? It's always just doom and yeah, I don't know. Okay. FSD, I honestly think, will be something that will be done locally at some point, just because roads are not going to get much more complex. Obviously, it is a very complex issue, but I bet 10 years from now, it just becomes a locally solved problem. You have wildlife, humans, cars, and you know, weather and damaged roads and stuff like this to worry about. Everything else is like, you know, it's pretty much the same of all that in different variations. I'm probably missing 10 other things. Look at that, by the way. Medium coffee, 15 minutes till we end up getting into after hours pricing on all of these fun companies that we're talking about. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this show. Thank you so much. Asfinio. Appreciate all you guys being here. What a show up, like legitimately on a Sunday after not streaming for like a week of my daily live streams. We're going to get back into it. We're going to be live every day, aside from the days where the market's closed. And then aside from the days that I'm at CES, maybe I can get something done after CES. But I assume I'll be going out with Evan most nights. So Evan, if you're working, man, you got to make sure that I'm working. Somehow this dude's always traveling and he always is getting work done. If I could tell a quick story about you, Evan, I don't know if you want me to say this, but I remember meeting you at one of the Hood events and you had an earbud in and you were on your laptop and you saw me walking by and you're like, Tanner, what's up, man? Like, good to see you. And I was like, yeah, nice to meet you as well, Evan. You know, we were just talking. And then you like kind of put up your finger and then you continued to have a conversation with your computer and then went back to having a conversation with me. I was like, oh, I didn't know you were on the phone right now. He's like, yeah, it's no problem. And he was just simultaneously having two different conversations. And it's still to this day is like, I think about that and I go, oh, no. There's real talent to this. And I don't have it. Evan has it. Amit has it. Like these guys can multitask like a madman. I've got 100 topics. I swear. That's not true. I probably have 20. That's probably a more accurate statement. And have gotten to one of them because you guys bring up a topic that I just find so interesting. I just want to like go off the cuff and just talk about it. It is called ADHD. I have it like crazy. But yeah, love it. I just like this job. I just like what I do. And yeah, very, very much enjoy talking. I know I and I say I like and or or all these things. It's extremely hard to listen to and the audio experience is not great. But as long as I get the picks right, that's what I'm trying to get to for you guys. You guys have to put up with all that stuff and hopefully that, Nebius or SoFi or even BM&R does well. Talk about Netflix and convince me not to buy it. I don't like the fact that Netflix has to continuously shell out so much money to continuously buy content. And you don't know if that content's going to do well or, I don't know. I've just not personally liked it that much. And I think Netflix put a real run on, Blockbuster and kind of put them out of business. I don't think YouTube is going to put Netflix out of business. Of course, it was like Netflix is doing fine. But if you were to say there's one step better than Netflix, in my opinion, it's just YouTube. And even the cost of YouTube, like the cost for the business only gets better over time as the cost of, well, I was going to say the cost of memory, but, but like, yeah, as technology advances, it makes it easier to put out a YouTube video and they offer every single creator the same take. So you don't have to worry about what content is good, what content is bad. That'll just sort itself out through the algorithm. So I love YouTube. I pay for both because my girlfriend would probably leave me if I didn't pay for Netflix, which is probably the bull case for Netflix. But yeah, I don't care for Netflix at all and prefer to watch YouTube. And I do pay for YouTube Premium. Okay. I'm thinking a lot about Nebius, but don't have a position in it. That's fine. I did give Tanner that hat as well, just saying. It's true. Evan's a great friend, but also a very generous friend as well. Mary, hey, Mary's made like what was the number? Like 100x, 120x or something on Netflix? Something crazy. I'm not selling, like, I'm not even, I just don't know. I don't understand Netflix. But obviously, like, I can appreciate and I can go back and look at the success of the business and go, oh my gosh, this was a winner. 130x from her initial investment. That's just beautiful, right? Like, that's amazing. Okay. Now, let's, oh, well, we still have 9 minutes. In 9 minutes, we're going to look at these stock prices, see what's moving, see what is not. BMNR is doing great if you short it. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. Like, Mary wasn't happy that I said it was 120x. She's like, it's 130, mister. Like, you're talking up that 10x of yours. Like, that's the rounding error that you just gave me. From 120 to 130 is a extra 10x that I didn't throw in there for her. That's insane. But that's also the great part about compounding, right? Like, the small moves that are made up in stocks after you have done a lot of compounding, like you can move multiples of your initial position size in a single day whenever it's a big company that's just bringing in a ton of profit. Yeah. It was 180x before it started dropping. Will you do something special when you reach 70K? Most likely not. I don't know. I don't really care about that. I care about the amount of people that are here and that the community is growing, but the subscriber count, like, I don't even know how many people of that initial 61,000 are even still fans. Like, I don't know. Like, people, I know a lot of YouTubers that have a lot of subscribers that get no views because at one point they were doing well. So I don't really care about the subscriber count nearly as much as I care about just the views. But yeah. Just imagine where it'll be in 10 years with SoFi. Mary, imagine where Netflix is going to be in 10 years. Because I still believe it's going to grow over the next 10 years. Like, that's incredible. How many subscribers did you have going into the start of 2025? I think it was 24,000, something like that. Yes, sir, Billy. This is my only, this is the job. Okay. Guy is flying. No, dude, it was a great year. SoFi did well. Nvidia did well. It was an everything year. So, of course, it's going to be big. Where do you think SoFi will be in 10 years? I'm not sure. I really don't know. I don't even know if, like, SoFi is not one of those ones where I think, like, I will hold it into my retirement, because at some point it's going to become, or at least I believe, maybe the future of, like, I guess the social media companies like Facebook and everything don't operate like the old school media, even though maybe some people could say that social media had replaced legacy media to some degree. They don't really operate with the same margins. They don't think the same. Maybe there's a different growth trajectory. What I'm trying to state is that I worry that SoFi is going to become a big bank. That's my hope, right? Because those companies have hundreds plus billions of dollars in market cap. But I don't want to buy them. So I want to run my way up to a legacy bank, but I don't want to continue to hold a legacy bank. So there's some companies like Shopify that I don't really ever foresee myself selling, just because I think e-commerce is just going to be a 100-year-long growth trajectory. But banking, I'm not sure. But I'll play it by ear, right? That's one of my like core principles is like underwrite what you own. So do I even have a strategy for SoFi 10 years out? No. Will I continue to look at it as new information comes in? Yes. Do I feel very confident in the, next 1, 2, 3 years? Absolutely. At some point, you're going to care more about capital preservation than growth. Honestly, I hope not. Whenever I look at the people who are my heroes, I actually think that they've sort of leaned more into growth. I look at like Bill Gurley, for example. How old's Bill Gurley now? He's not old, but he's been around the block and investing for a while now. Let's see. He's 59. He's still buying the most innovative companies that exist. You look to Don Valentine or even Chamath to some example. It's like, or David Sachs. How old's David Sachs? Like him through Craft Ventures. Like they're buying the most innovative companies that exist. I don't want to lose that spirit. And I actually worry about that. I think about that often. Like I have a hard time. David Sachs is 53. Wow, he does. You don't look it, brother. You need to look younger than that. But I always worry, like, for example, I didn't see Snapchat. And I mean, honestly, it's not doing that well anyway. But I worry that I'm not going to be able to see the technology of the future. That scares the crap out of me. So far, I think I'm doing okay. But there was a time, like whenever space started popping off and then like 3D printing was going and the quantum and, nuclear energy. And I wasn't really taking shots at any of those because it just didn't they just weren't big clicks with me. And I'm like, man, did I lose it? Did I lose it? So, but yeah, I need enough money to live comfortably, but I also want to invest in what I believe in. And I don't think just because I get older, I mean, maybe it will end up happening where like I need to try to preserve it. But like then I'm going to lose all the flavor of investing. I'm going to lose my drive. That's why I want to be in venture capital because I love that part, betting on what's going to be next. When is enough, Tanner? There's no enough. Enough would be investing in the S&P 500, and I'm just looking to live out a retirement. I am enjoying it now. I didn't always enjoy it, but I'm loving it now. And I love, like, maybe during a Great Depression or something like this, I'm going to hate investing because growth is just going to get killed. But yeah, I love it. I love it now. Okay. Isn't Amit in event? Yeah, he got some capital from A16Z as like a scout or something. But yeah. Am I streaming tomorrow? Yes. I'll be back, full time now. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and take a look at the markets. We are about 20 or so seconds away from the after hours market showing off some of their pricing. And we can see what's going to happen to some of these Mag 7 names. Let's get it going. 10, 9, 8. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay. Let's follow what's going on here. Hopefully everyone had happy holidays. You spent some time with the family. We're back. Shift 4 is up 1%. American Express is up 1.2% in 24-hour markets. Let me know in chat if there's something that I'm missing that's popping. C Limited up 2.8%. Some of these fintechs already. Oh, C Limited back down, extremely low volume. That's another thing too. We just need to be careful on 24-hour markets. Just because something's moving doesn't mean it's actually moving. Silver down 2.8% in 24-hour markets, 69.17. Okay, let's see. Amcor up 1, very little volume, however. VG, oh, that's a good one. VG up 1%. BM&R, I'm pretty sure BM&R on Moomoo doesn't work for me. But yeah, it still doesn't say that I have 24 hours. But other people that use this platform say that they do. So I don't know why I'm bugged. But I can check it on like Yahoo Finance or something. Looks to be, oh, sorry. It looks to be 28.66 up 1.2% for BM&R. ASTS up 1%. What else? Chime's down 2. New is down. How much is New down? Okay, well, that's flat. Chime down 1.6, $26 per share. I spoke with Andrew Jeffrey from William Blair. He put Chime in their big, like big ideas for next year, which is nice. BM&R will drop once the market opens. Yeah, hope unless Ethereum can turn around. Okay, let's see this. CoreWeave down 0.5. Nebius flat. Nvidia essentially flat, 0.15% up, but still that's holding above 190. What else? AMD up 0.19%, 215.40. Broadcom is up 0.1, 352.30. Interesting. Interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I also have a very big announcement this week. I can't say anything about it just yet, but around the new year, I'm going to have a huge announcement, which should be fun. But we have to wait. No spoilers. No spoilies. I think the only person that actually knows anything about it is great and powerful Stephen Fiorillo. But yeah. HIMS is also flat, 0.2. Datadog down 0.3%. This is all extremely low volume. Like, we're not even really seeing much of a move at all. Let's check the SPY. SPY is essentially flat, 0.04%. That is flat. That is the definition of flat. And the Qs are also extremely flat. Pregnant, not my announcement, but it was my entire family's announcement. It's like every single time I see family, it's, you know, when's the proposal? When's the baby? When's all this stuff? Yeah. Steve got the Mega Charizard yesterday. I saw that. That was so freaking fun to watch. Yeah, it didn't have any volumes last 2 weeks. It's also why I didn't really go live. I just knew it was going to be slow, so might as well enjoy myself than, you know, stress over zero volume. Okay. Steve is a full-time streamer. It's crazy how often he's live. He just loves it, man. To be fair, it's a fun job for sure. Okay. Micron up 0.8%, by the way. That should not be overlooked. Meta, yeah, everything's gonna be flat. I mean, the market's flat. We're gonna be flat. Have you been doing the Robinhood gifts? I am a one of those filthy Canadians, so we don't have access to. Vlad hates us up here in the north, and he doesn't want me to have it, so I don't have the gifts. I'm kidding, by the way. But yeah, maybe one day he'll be in Canada. He ended up purchasing a company called WonderFi. But yeah, which is a Canadian crypto exchange. So they did want to enter. That looked a little crooked there. Are we expecting low volumes this week too? I think it might be news related, but most companies I would suspect are back to work, or especially by the next week, like starting on the 4th, or sorry, 5th of Monday is definitely a full back to work. Damn, that's too bad. Okay. He should acquire ShakePay. I know a lot of people that like ShakePay up here. Yeah. Yeah, maybe after New Year's, people will get back to work. All right, I'm going to go back to studying. Have a great day/night, everyone. That's probably a good idea. It's a slow, flat day. At least we're not going negative, right? We ended up recovering from some of those Friday night sell-offs after hours. So not too bad. Yeah, so to give someone a little bit of a recap on my perspective, I'm not following the commodities market really. I'm not saying that there's not money to be made there. I just don't have the capacity for both. I like being a little niche down and into the companies and industries that I'm in, and that does not involve precious metals. It does, however, involve cryptocurrency and the utility ones mostly. I'm not really into Bitcoin, but I do benefit off of the trading of that. If this commodity boom continues to happen at high rates, I suspect that Robinhood would like to enter some sort of vertical there, some sort of precious metals exchange. You could see them getting deeper into that, and they'll be a fast mover there. And so they're always going to look to take advantage of whatever's hyped up in markets, and then build out those markets. So then the next time that it happens, they won't even need to adjust anything. They just will already have all the tools that you need as an investor. You can already buy ETFs and stuff like this for gold or silver, most of the precious metals. But yeah. Have you seen Netflix game release? Maybe not. What are you referring to? Evan, you think this week will be slow? Really looking forward to Noto one day being interviewed on your channel. That's the hope. I mean, I don't know if I'd have an interview that would be more hyped up. I think it's like that girl that you just constantly always tried to talk to, and she just give you no peace of mind. That's what Noto is. He's a cute little girl. Interview Noto, please, bro, please. No, it's like I should want to interview like Jensen or Elon or like someone that's top 5 richest people on earth, but for some reason the top of my list is Noto. You're not even that cute. You're just so evasive. Okay. He's a dude, though. Yeah, no, it's just a joke. They usually say sarcasm doesn't come through text, but I guess it doesn't even come through live streams either. No doesn't respect Canadians. Maybe it's that. Yeah. So did Hood get their app all fixed? Did you yeah, okay, you were talking about the Netflix thing. I've seen this. They've had that for a while. But what was I going to say? Did they get their Robinhood Gold or the holiday gifts fixed? Or are people still getting black screens and they're not giving the gifts out right away? How's that going? Yeah, literally the markets could not be flatter with zero volume. And I'll believe Evan. Evan is a good proxy for what's going on. He makes me want to take 2 weeks off. I'm not going to, though. I literally, like, by the time I got to this weekend, like Saturday and Sunday, I was just dying to go live. So then whenever Steve invited me on, I was like, no, you know what? I want to talk a lot more than this. I got to go live. And that's what you got to strive for, right? That's living. Like find something that you love to do. And for me, it's it's talking. You know. Now everyone in my actual circle of life is done hearing about stocks. They do not care. But you guys. Do you know the saying blood is thicker than water? I heard that the saying was, I don't even know why I'm saying this. I'm not even trying to interpret anything. This came to mind and I wanted to say it. So, but the suggestion always is what? What do you get? Like the suggestion is always that family is closer than friends, you know? But that's not actually, supposedly, at least from the person that I heard this from, it was the original intent of that saying. That saying was altered. The original saying was the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of womb, or water of the womb. That the friends you choose are actually closer than the family you were given. But I'm not actually trying to suggest anything by saying that. I'm extremely close with my family. But I love that there's a community online that we talk stocks and like it's extremely niche, and all my friends and family do not care anymore. They're done hearing about SoFi. And you know, are naysayers on artificial intelligence. But I love that I can come on here and share ideas with people and have real disputes. Like we don't even agree most times about what I have to say, but then someone would put up a counterpoint and then I learn. And then, you know, next time I don't say the same mistake. It's just great. Okay. Let's see. Does your family know that you like us better than them? I mean, probably. All I do is talk about stocks and YouTube and everything like this. I like it's, you know, I've got no room for new friends because I just care about this soul journey in my life right now. So they probably know. But it's not true. Like I do love my family for sure. Hey Tanner, do you think that SoFi offering was to secure cash for SoFi stablecoin? No, just because 1.5 to 1.7 billion dollars is huge. I could believe that 100 million of that, or something like this would be used for the SoFi stablecoin, but you wouldn't need that much. Yeah, so amid talking about Grey's Anatomy, I did comment. I said you guys should check out season 2, episode 17. You'll remember why you hate it so much. And for real, it's the bomb episode. I sent Amit the clip, and we were laughing about it. But this, it is not a good show. Okay, it's not. This guy gets shot with a bazooka, point blank. It doesn't go off in his stomach. So then they have to get this surgical procedure to remove the bomb. And then the main character, Meredith, falls in love with one of the bomb squad guys as he's carrying out the bomb. And so she goes to check on him because he's she wants to see if that spark is there. And then he explodes, for real explodes when carrying out that bomb that they had removed from his stomach. It is the craziest minute of television that you could have, watched. It's so, spoiler alert, it's from 20 years ago. Spoiler, it's last 1 year. It looks like Tanner has watched them all. I have not watched them all, but I always remember that scene whenever someone says Grey's Anatomy. I always think about that dude exploding. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, though, it has been fun. The markets are flat. There's zero volume. Nothing's popping off. Micron looks to be doing good. Might be a very interesting name. I mean, people can have their opinions about artificial intelligence. Mine are extremely bullish. I'm not calling for a double or anything on Nvidia, but I do think that even with the same multiple that's going on right now, if the company was to grow at 55, 60% growth rate, that would translate to a 55 to 60% upside on their stock price over the next year. There's a lot of quarterly reports between now and the end of 2026. That said, let's imagine a little bit of multiple compression because the build-out CapEx cycle might be closer to an end. I'm not saying that we're past the halfway mark. I'm just saying every year that passes, you would imagine that there is some level of capacity that we're going to end up reaching. That there's some level of capacity or multiple compression. So Nvidia might grow 40% next year? That's fine with me. I'll take that every day. And that's just assuming a sort of base case, right? I'm not assuming that the market falls apart. I'm not assuming that there's a new product or advancement or something like this that happens that I'm not calling for. That's no China revenue. I'm just, just a measly 40% to beat out the S&P 500. I mean, why would I not keep my the large part of my portfolio in that position? That's my belief. It's not that's not the full belief. Obviously, there's a lot of due diligence to end up backing that, but that's the sort of final verdict that I have. Thank you all so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. On a fine Sunday. I don't even know how to sign off anymore. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. Bye for now.